Alright, so we're here. We're going to do the yearly thing that I do every time, where I'm going to tell myself I'm not going to buy into the Clippers again, and inevitably I'm going to buy into the Clippers again because I just can't quit this team. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. I fucking. I love Kawhi so much, and I've become a Harden guy as he's entered the twilight of his career. Everybody wants to kind of bash on Harden, and I can't. I can't stand by and let that happen, despite the fact that Harden FC and Russ FC and Houston fans versus OKC fans have had beef pretty much forever, and I just can't let this happen to James. I just can't let this happen. Um, yeah, you guys are gonna be shocked to find out that I like the Clippers again. I like the Clippers again this year. I think they got better in this offseason. I don't know if they got a ton better, but they definitely got better. They went from Norm Powell to Bradley Beal, which I do think is a downgrade. I do think that's a lateral move. I think Norman Powell is just better than Bradley Beal is at this point. But contractually, for the money that Norm Powell was gonna take over Brad Beal's getting like 5 million, and Powell I think was like 25 plus. So that makes sense contract wise why they would make that move. And they signed Chris Paul yesterday. He's going back to the Clippers. He's going where he played from 2011 to 2017. He's one of the all-time Clipper legends and, you know, the orchestrator of the Lob City Clippers from the mid 2010s with him and Blake and DeAndre and Jamal Crawford, Matt Barnes, JJ Redick, all those guys. And he's going back now, and they still have Kawhi, and they extended James, and they still have Zubac, and they brought in Brook Lopez to be the backup center, and they brought Batum back, and I don't know, man. I just can't quit this team. No matter what they do, every year I say I'm not buying it. It's not gonna work. And then they always pull me. I could, excuse me, I can see myself right now in November watching a Clippers game and just falling in love with this team all over again. It's like I can't stop myself. I see James, I see Kawhi, I'll see CP3 out there. I won't be able to control myself. And I loved the way Zubac played last year. I don't know if he's going to be that good again, but even if he's not, even if he's like a percentage of what he was last year, he was like I voted him for my all defense team, my all defense ballot, my made up ballot, and I heavily considered putting him on all NBA third team. Now I ended up putting in Halliburton instead, but it was very close. I almost went with Zubac, and yeah, I went with Halliburton. Probably definitely the right call, but they just they always find a way to pull me back in, and this time they do it just by, you know, I bought in against Denver. I thought they were going to beat Denver. I think they should have beat Denver. I think they were the better team in that series for the most part. But they blew a couple games late, and they were not able to really put Denver away. You know, they blew game one, and then what was it, game four, the Aaron Gordon dunk buzzer beater. You know, they should have won both of those games. Instead, they didn't. They go to game seven. If they'd have just won one, it would have been Clippers OKC in round two. Obviously, OKC would have beaten them, but you know, that's still a better season than what they had if they get to second round. Um, and I'm gonna buy them again. I'm buying stock. If anybody has Clippers stock and wants to sell it, hit my line. You know where to find me. Because they're gonna be a league pass. They're gonna be probably my number one league pass team this year. I just love, I love the way they play, the way they played last year, And I think adding Chris Paul into that, I think is going to make them even more exciting. Chris Paul is just, he's one of those guys. I like watching Chris Paul. I don't care how old he gets. I don't care how broken down his body is. He's going to get to his little spot in the mid-range. He's going to hit some, 17-footers. He's going to make some good passes. He's a smart player. He's the point guard that they needed, during the Paul George Kawhi era. Then they get Harden, and then Harden kind of takes over the point guard role. Maybe Harden can go back to a shooting guard role in some lineups, because I'm sure CP3 is going to come off the bench. The starting lineup will probably be Harden, Harden, Beal, Ooh, that sounds nasty. Ooh, I don't like the sound of that. Harden, Beal backcourt. Ooh, Harden, Beal, Kawhi, Batum, and Brook Lopez. It's an old team. It's the unction for sure. That is for sure. It's the unction. There is no youth on this roster left. They've gotten rid of all of it. Even like their youngest guys are like Chris Dunn, who's like 28. Like they don't have a ton of youth. And I just think they're going to be fun to watch. I don't think they're going to win the championship. They're definitely not going to win the championship. They might not win a playoff round. But man, you give me James Harden and Kawhi and CP3 on the same team, it's going to be fun. It's going to be an exciting team to watch. I can't wait to see this in action. And my brain might need to be studied because I can't. They're an addiction. It's like they're like my version of cigarettes or booze or whatever other shit people get addicted to. I can't quit them no matter how hard I try. They're an abusive ex. They're like an abusive ex. They always, let me down and destroy me and hurt me. And I always come crawling back to them because I'm like, Kawhi, I love you, Kawhi. I can't give up on Kawhi. And it's gonna happen again. It's already happened again. I'm not even gonna try this year to convince myself not to do it. I'm just gonna do it. I like the Clippers. I think they're gonna be good. I think they might be like a top 4 seed in the West. I don't think they're gonna win a playoff series, or they're definitely not gonna win 2. They might win 1. Harden's probably gonna disappoint in the playoffs again, like he does every single year. Bradley Beal is going to once again be overrated, and people are going to expect way too much from him. And Chris Paul is old. He's probably going to miss some games. And Zubac's probably not going to be as good as he was last year. And Brook Lopez is definitely washed. He's not probably going to provide them a ton, but I don't care. I love them. I can't get over them. They will never leave my heart, the Clippers. I don't know what the fuck the reason is. I don't know why I keep letting them do this to me. But it's without fail. They pull me back in. They've done it every single year. The first time I tried to give up on them was, I think, 2021. I think that, or no, 2022 when no, 2023, because 2021 I was all in. I thought they were going to win the championship, and then Kawhi tore his ACL. And I still, to this day, think I was right. I still think they would have won the championship if Kawhi didn't tear his ACL. The way he was playing in that round, in that playoffs, the West was so weak. The Clippers pushed the Suns to 6 without him. So if they have him, they beat the Suns, and then it's Kawhi versus Giannis in the finals. And I mean, Giannis was historically great in that series. Would he have been that good against the Clippers? I don't know. Maybe the Bucks still win and they just beat the Clippers instead of the Suns. But I still think I would have been right. So 22 he doesn't play because he tore his ACL. Misses all of that season. That's the year when Paul George gets COVID right before the play-in game against New Orleans. And the Clippers, I was watching that game because I really wanted the Clippers to lose, because if the Clippers lost, that meant OKC would get a lottery pick because we had the Clippers picked that year unprotected. And the Clippers almost fucking won that game anyways. Like they went on a run in like the third quarter. The Pelicans were killing them for like 2.5 quarters. And then in the third quarter, like Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris went on a run and got the game to within like 3. And I was like, oh my fucking God, the Clippers are going to make the playoffs. We're going to pick 15 when we could be picking in the lottery. Fuck me. And then, you know, it doesn't happen. They lose. And the Thunder draft Jalen Williams a few weeks later. And, look where that got us. Look where that got us, didn't it? 40 ball in the finals. Let's go, baby. Thank you, Clippers. Thank you, Paul George. And then 23, I was back on them. I was like, I know Kawhi. I know it's been a while. I know it hasn't worked, but I still believed. And in 23, they played Phoenix in the first round, and I will never forget watching that game one. It was in Phoenix, and Kawhi was back in the playoffs, and it was Kawhi versus Durant, and Westbrook was on the Clippers, and it was Westbrook versus Durant, and the Clippers they played such a good game, and Kawhi was incredible. He had like I think close to 40. It was it was like a moment of my dreams because I still hated Durant at that point. I was still mad at Durant, and Kawhi was cooking him. And I remember Westbrook blocked a Durant shot at one point, and I was so fucking hyped. And I was like, let's go. I was so anti-Phoenix. I was, fuck the Suns, and I was pro Clippers, and I was so pumped. I was like, we're gonna win. The Clippers are gonna win the series. We're not gonna have to see fucking Kevin Durant go deep in the playoffs. I was like, fuck Kevin Durant. And then, like the day before game two, they were like, oh yeah, by the way, in that game one, Kawhi got hurt. And I was like, what? What? What do you mean Kawhi got hurt? It was like, yeah, his knee's fucked up. We were like, what do you mean? When? They were like, we don't know. It's just happened. It happened at some point. We don't know. And then it was like, well, is he gonna be back? And they were like, not for game two. And so game two goes by, and they're like, hey, Kawhi, game three. And they were like, maybe we're thinking about it. And then the day comes, and there's no Kawhi. And then here comes game four, and we're like, all right, surely though by now, he's had like 5 days to recover. Like maybe he's good. And then they were like, no, he's actually not good. And then I think it only went 5. I think it went 6 because the Clippers got another one. The Clippers got one without Kawhi. Because I remember Russ and Norman Powell were cooking, and they got one without Kawhi. So I think it went to 6. But after that year was the first time I tried to quit the Clippers. And then in 2024, they traded for James Harden, and I was like, oh, man, I'm back, baby. I'm fucking back. Let's go. James Harden, Kawhi, Paul George. They still had Russ. They had Zubac, obviously, and Batum, I think, was in Philly, so they didn't have him anymore. Obviously, they brought him back, and they played that series against Dallas last year. And Kawhi was fucking hurt again, and he didn't play in the first 2 games. It was something like the road team, I think, won every game in that series. I think the Clippers were the high seed, or maybe the road team won every game except game 7, and Dallas I don't remember, but I just know it was 2 wins. The road team won the first 2, the road team won the next 2. And then the 1-1-1, the road team won all of them, except for maybe Game 7, because I don't remember what seed Dallas was that year. But I also remember Kawhi played 2 of those games in the middle. I think he played the 2 games the Clippers lost. And in the games the Clippers won, he didn't play. And it was a weird team. It was Paul George and Harden and Kawhi, and they never figured that out. They didn't have a ton of time to figure that out, and then they never did. Because after that, Paul George left, and this past season was the year that I was adamant. I'm not fucking doing this again. All of this last year, I kept telling myself, I'm not falling for this trap again. I cannot do this again. I cannot. I have to I have to keep some type of my morality. I can't let them do this to me over and over again. It's not fair to myself. It's not fair to the world to let the Clippers keep fucking ringing me in like this. And then we got closer to the playoffs and closer to the playoffs, and I kept watching their games, and they were playing these games that were very important down the stretch because they were very close to ending up in the play-in tournament. And I kept watching them, and I I fell in love again, man. It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe my eyes when I was watching. I was like, oh my god, this team is incredible. I don't know what to say. They're really fucking good. Kawhi is healthy. Harden's playing great. Zubac looks like an All-NBA player. He's like one of the best centers in the league somehow. Batum is still doing it at like 37 years old. Norman Powell looks like an all-star still. Because he started out that way, and it was like, oh my God, Norman Powell all-star, and then it didn't happen. But he kept playing so fucking good, and it was like, oh my God, maybe he should have been an all-star. I didn't know what to do with myself. I kept watching them play, and I kept going, God, I'm scared of this team now. The Thunder were the 1 seed. We won 68 games, and I kept telling myself, God, I'm fucking scared of the Clippers, man. I don't want to see that team. I'm fucking scared of them. Obviously, we ended up seeing Denver instead, and I was pretty fucking scared of Denver too. I mean, the other side of the bracket, that was the thing with the Thunder in this playoff run. It was the first series was going to be a cakewalk because it was the 8th seed. That made our side of the bracket enticing. But the other side of the bracket was, it was just flawed team after flawed team. Houston with no offense, Golden State with no roster around Steph, the Lakers with no center or real depth at all, and Minnesota, who I was terrified of, but in the end, we cleared the fuck out of them in the conference finals, so, I didn't have to be worried about them, even though I was. Um, but yeah, I was scared of the Clippers, and I was watching the Clippers all the second half, just going, God, they're gonna fucking do it again, aren't they? They're gonna ring me in, and so I just accept it now. I know we're going into 2026, guys, and I still have a fucking, like, I'm still enticed by this Kawhi Clippers experience that's been going on for 6 years and has led to nothing. I know it's stupid, but I can't quit. I can't stop myself. I love them. I love Kawhi. Bomber's fucking hilarious. I kind of like the rebrand. I kind of like the jerseys again. I liked them before. I always liked them when they had the Lob City Clippers. I always liked those teams. I liked the teams in between when it was Gallinari and Tobias Harris and Lou Williams and Pat Bev and Doc Rivers was the coach. But in between the Blake Griffin CP3 era into the Kawhi PG era, there was like 3 years of randomly, like, Tobias Harris was an all-star, Gallinari was like an all-star level guy, and they just had a bunch of guys. Obviously, the 1 year they had with Shea, I really liked Shea as a rookie. I don't. I've always had a soft spot for them, I guess, and I can't stop having a soft spot for them no matter how hard I try. No matter how, because this team defies everything that I believe in basketball. They don't have a ton of depth. They're old. They have guys that have problems in the playoffs, that get injured, that always get injured in the playoffs, or are James Harden, that just don't show up in the playoffs. And yet I still find myself just being enamored with them. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why. I can see so clearly the issues with a team like the Lakers, with a guy like Joel Embiid, and I can still find myself just like, you know, loving the Clippers and loving Harden, even though and Kawhi, and even though Harden and Kawhi either don't play in the playoffs or don't play well in the playoffs, Harden always disappoints. And Kawhi, when he does play, he's usually awesome, but he doesn't always play. And a guy like Embiid, who I'm just like so staunchly anti-Embiid because of those things, but I still like the Clippers. They have a charm over me. I can't stop. I can't stop myself. I don't know what to say. Um, and now they add Chris Paul to that, who Chris Paul's 1 season in OKC that like solidified him as like one of my favorite players in the NBA because he was just so great for us and helped us in so many ways. And add that back. And it's a cool story. He's going back to the Clippers. And it's right after Dame went back to Portland, so everybody's kind of making the comparisons and looking at another certain Hall of Fame free agent point guard who's got a former team that would love to welcome him home and bring him back and help him win his first championship in his NBA career. Russell Westbrook, come on back home, brother. Come on. Let's just get this thing done. Come back. Play 12 minutes a game in the regular season. Give us energy. Hype up the crowd. We'll we'll get into the postseason. SGA is the guy. We can have our SGA and Russell Westbrook moments that it feels like it would be impossible in a fever dream because it feels like two completely separate eras, even though both of them were on the roster at the exact same time for probably like 3 weeks before Westbrook got traded after the Paul George trade. And the Thunder fans were saying, how can we play Westbrook and SGA at the same time? Are we going to be able to figure this out? Obviously, we didn't end up having to. But, just come on back home. We'll go rattle off another one. We'll go back to back. We'll get you your ring. It'll be at home. It'll be justified, and you can ride off into the sunset as one of the greatest players of all time, as one of the greatest Thunders of all time, and just come on back home. Let's seal this deal. All right. Let's leave no door unopened. Let's leave, what is it? No stone unturned. Come on, just come on back, Russ. All right. Anyways, what else has happened? Marcus Smart went to the Lakers. This is the other thing that happened that people are talking about. I'm not moved. Marcus Smart has been bad ever since he got traded from Boston. He went to Memphis, did nothing. Got traded to Washington, did nothing. He's 31, but he looks like he's about 37. He plays like he's about 41. And I just don't think he's good anymore. He's never really been a good shooter. I think his body's a little broken down. I don't think his defense is going to be very good anymore. He's a guy that fell off quick, man. Like, he won Defensive Player of the Year, and then it felt like that was it. And, I mean, he was decent in 23, and then got traded in 24, and then got traded again in 25, and now he's on the Lakers. And, yeah, this does not move me in any way. I don't think he's going to do a ton there. I think he's another guy that Lakers fans are going to be sending death threats to by December, and they're going to be trying to trade him. And he's going to just be another guy in the long list of Lakers role players from this era that the Lakers fans come to hate for no reason, because they thought he was going to be better than he actually is. I don't want to talk about the Lakers again, because the last time I did that, I fucking screamed and yelled for like 25 minutes, and the entire rest of that day it was done. I had nothing left the entire rest of that day. I had to work the next day. I had nothing left then. I can't do it. Is LeBron gonna get traded? I don't fucking know. Probably not. I'd be surprised. If he does get traded, where is he going to go? I don't think I give a fuck, because I don't think, this is a hot take, I don't think there's more than 2 teams that LeBron could get traded to where the championship odds would drastically swing. I think the only 2 teams LeBron could end up on that them making that move would make me say, okay, they're legit now, is Cleveland, which I think is unrealistic now after the offseason they had. I don't think that monetarily they can make that work anymore. And the Knicks. And if the Knicks were to do it, they'd have to give Towns to the Lakers. And the Lakers would have to want Towns. And I think if you replace Towns with LeBron, I think the Knicks get better this year. Obviously, long term, that would be a problem that they would suffer, because LeBron's probably not going to probably wouldn't be there more than 2 years, whereas Towns is under contract, I think, for the next 4. People throw out Dallas. I don't think that would make a difference for Dallas this year. I think maybe next year it would when they get Kyrie back. People act as if Kyrie like his thumb got fucked up and like he's gonna be ready for the season. Like people are acting as if Kyrie's just gonna be back. People act like Kyrie got like a 3-month injury with 4 months left in the season. Like he tore his fucking ACL in March. He's not coming back. That's a year. It's a year-long injury. That's a 1 year. In modern NBA, like, is 9 months possible? I guess. Or in modern athletics, is 9 months possible? Maybe. But it's not. It's not a turnaround and go injury. You're gonna come back and he's gonna be rusty. He's not gonna come back and just be Kyrie Irving if he comes back this year. If he came back this year, it's undeniably post All-Star break. So we're talking late February to March, which would put him at a year. He would then have a month to ramp up, get ready, and be ready for the postseason. And you're telling me that he's going to do that fast enough and that they're going to be able to go and win a title with a 41-year-old LeBron and with Anthony Davis, who's often injured, and a rookie Cooper Flag? What do they do with is Cooper Flag in the trade if they trade for LeBron? Are they going to bring LeBron in with Cooper Flag? Is LeBron going to be willing to play with a rookie? Like so many other times we've seen him not be willing to do so. Like when he went back to Cleveland and said, "I'm not playing with Andrew Wiggins." Is he going to do that now with Cooper Flag? And if so, Dallas isn't doing it because they've been very clear, hey, we're moving forward with this kid. We don't give a fuck. We're not trading him for Durant. We're not trading him for LeBron. So they would have to keep Cooper Flag. And then is a team of LeBron, Cooper Flag, Anthony Davis, and fucking like D'Angelo Russell and whoever else they have, Lively and Gafford, is that good enough? I don't think it is. And then we're talking it's LeBron, AD, and D'Lo. It's like, well, we've seen that team. They weren't very good. We saw that on the Lakers, and guess what? They're all a few years older now. And Anthony Davis has been injured a few more times, and D'Angelo Russell has missed a few more shots to fuck his confidence up. And I guess what's the point? I guess what would be the point of that? I'm not moved if Dallas gets to LeBron. As far as who can win the championship, I still think the Thunder would be better than them. I still think Denver would be better than them. Honestly, I think Minnesota would be better than them. In the East, I guess, I don't know. Maybe the Knicks. I don't know. I mean, the East sucks. Maybe the Knicks. But whoever comes out the East this year, probably gonna be food for the West, if we're being honest. Whoever can get through the West and get to people, you're gonna be playing A teams in the West probably for the entire playoffs, with maybe the exception of whoever gets number one. You're gonna be playing, like, as far as playoff teams go, you're probably, if you get the 1 seed and you're facing 8 and it's Minnesota, or not Minnesota, it's Memphis or Sacramento or whoever, then maybe you're playing like a B playoff team. And then, like last year in the postseason, 1 through 7 were like 7. Who was 7? Golden State with Steph, who won a round against Houston. Houston's better this year. Houston's another team that'd be better than that. I forgot about them. They'd be better than that Dallas roster. You're not getting easy series unless you're the 1 seed, and then maybe, and even then, OKC almost played Dallas, who, if they had Kyrie, they're definitely in the playoffs, and they're definitely like an A playoff team. You know, I don't think they're going to be that good this year because they had healthy Davis in this scenario. Who's to say Davis is going to be healthy? Who's to say LeBron even would be healthy in that scenario? We know Kyrie's not healthy. Their role players aren't that good. Lively was so good as a rookie because he played with Luka, not because he was some good player or some great young player. He was a high intensity guy who could catch lobs and get rebounds. And his value got drastically inflated because he was playing next to Luka. Same thing with Gafford. PJ Washington in a series in games against anyone not named OKC is like a 30 like probably like a 34% shooter. Against OKC he randomly decided he was like a 42% shooter. It was fucking ridiculous. I just don't think Dallas is I don't think LeBron can drastically shift the title odds anymore. I think we're at that point. And so I don't really care to speculate about where he's going to go. I mean, I want him to be off the Lakers. Don't get me wrong. Get him the fuck out of there, please. I like LeBron. I just don't. I don't think I think people look at him in the regular season and look at his numbers and say, "Oh my God, he can still do all of this at 40." But it feels like nobody watched him in the playoff series against Minnesota when he was very clearly overmatched. He couldn't guard shit, and he was fucking tired. He was out of energy late in those games, and he had nothing left, and he had no defense to give, and he was only playing on offense, and he still was gassed at the end of games because he's 40. And hey, it's not going to get any better this year. It might not get worse. He might not get more gassed, but it's not getting better. It didn't look good last year. It's not going to look good this year. He'll put up good numbers in the regular season. He'll still be like a top 10 player in the league. But when the playoffs come around, I don't think we can rely on LeBron to be that guy. And it's not because he's not great, it's because he's fucking old. Like every other old player ever, he's the best 40-year-old of all time, clearly. He's still 40. He's still going to be gassed in these playoff series. It's still going to be hard for him to play defense. And it's probably over as far as him competing for championships. It's probably over. Because there's not a team out there you can pick up LeBron and drop him on that team. And I think that immediately makes them better than OKC, Denver, or Houston in the West. Let alone the fact that somebody has to trade for him now because he opted in. So somebody's going to have to give up assets from their team to get LeBron. Whereas if you could just pick up LeBron and drop him on that team, they still wouldn't be better than those other three. Now they're going to have to give up assets to get him. It's not going to work. And it's not going to work on the Lakers because their roster is just not that good. It's Luka, it's Reeves, it's LeBron, and filler. Like DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart and Jake LaRavia. And I like Rui Hachimura too, to be fair. I do like Rui Hachimura. I think he's a good role player. I think they have one good role player, and I think in this NBA you need 4. Maybe 5. Let's just think about it from OKC standpoint. Not because I'm an OKC fan, but because we just won the fucking championship. If your 3 is Shea, Chet, Jalen Williams, does the Lakers 3 match up to those with Luka, LeBron, and Reeves? I don't think so. I think Reeves drastically pulls that down. I think LeBron is better than Chet and J-Dub are, but I think Shea's better than Luka. I think Shea's the best player of the 6. I think Luka, then LeBron, then you go Jalen Williams, Chet, and then huge gap, Austin Reeves. So then let's look at the role players OKC had. All right, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Hartenstein. That's 4. The Lakers' next best 4. What is it? Rui? Rui, Jake LaRavia, Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton? Are you kidding me? That's not comparing to the four in OKC, let alone the fact that OKC still has Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe sitting there. And the other Jalen Williams, Arkansas Jalen Williams. Now we're at 7. And then now we're talking about guys on the Lakers like, what's the kid's name? Is Jalen Hood Schifino still there? Like, we're talking about that. We're talking about Gabe Vincent. We're talking, I don't even fucking know. Bro, we're talking about Bronny now. Like, legitimately. Now we're talking about Bronny. Is Bronny as good as anyone on OKC? Bronny is like as good as AJ Mitchell. And AJ Mitchell's like the 11th guy on the Thunder. And Bronny's going to have to be like the 9th guy on the Lakers. And that doesn't sound like a big difference, but it is. So it's not going to work there. I don't think it's going to work anywhere else. There's not a path for him to get on any of those other 3. There's not a route for him to be on Denver or OKC or Houston. Not a realistic one. Like, Houston's not trading Şengün for LeBron. OKC's not packaging up Dort and Wallace and Hartenstein for LeBron. Denver's not sending Jamal Murray for LeBron. It's not happening. And Marcus Smart is supposed to move the needle. All right. Whatever. Moral of the story, I can't help myself with the Clippers. And every time I start to talk about the Lakers / LeBron, I tell myself I only want to talk about them for a few minutes, and then I talk about them for 15 minutes. So I can't help myself with that either. I didn't plan to go 40 minutes today. So I guess I'll talk about this. I don't know what the game plan for the channel is right now, because I think the Beans Ball Hour thing, I don't think weekly is gonna work. I think I need to upload more than once a week. I need to upload like 2 or 3 times a week. And I don't think I can upload, not at least right now. I don't think I can upload 2 videos a week plus an hour podcast, because I just don't think there's enough to talk about. So I think for now, I'm just going to go and upload 2, maybe 3 videos a week. More like this. It's 40 minutes instead of an hour, or 30 minutes or 20 minutes. You know, some will be short, some will be longer. If I can go an hour, I'll make it a podcast if I have stuff to talk about. If not, I'll just make videos. I'll section the videos. I'll section off what would be podcast topics into videos. So like, instead of doing a 20-minute segment on Bradley Beal to the Clippers and CP to the Clippers in the podcast, I'll just make a 20-minute video about it. And then make a 20-minute video about, you know, whatever's going on in the NFL, make about training camp or the Lakers, even though I did the Lakers and the Clippers all in one today. You get the point. So that's kind of the update there. It's kind of what I'm thinking for now, at least. And then as more stuff comes on, like, because we are kind of in a dead point right now. It's only baseball going on, really. And I don't know enough about baseball to get on here and talk about it. I like baseball. I'm a Mariner fan, obviously. I hope we go get Eugenio Suarez back. Cal Raleigh just won the home run derby. That was fun. But like, I really don't know enough about baseball for me to feel comfortable getting on here and talking about it yet. Like, I don't want to get on here and act like I know stuff that I don't, because I don't. I just don't know enough about baseball. So, I mean, maybe someday I'll get somebody on here that does know enough about baseball and we can talk. And then yeah, I honestly don't really give a fuck about many other sports. It's kind of, you know, basketball is my true love. Football is like my first love. And then baseball is like the one that's coming along. And then if I ever find time to watch wrestling again, just because I don't have time for it anymore, unfortunately, because I got hired part-time, yet I work full-time hours. So I don't have time to watch it as much as I would like to. I don't have time to watch it. So maybe one day we'll talk about wrestling on the show. But for now, basketball, football, hopefully at some point baseball. But as more things come along, the podcast will be brought back and we'll do more about the podcast and I'll have people on. I'm already trying to get some stuff lined up. Um, so that's the update on the channel. We'll see how things go and I appreciate you guys for watching and that's it.